Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Manchester City 4. They might not be defending champions, but Shaka, that was old school Manchester City today. They were good, but just how good?
Well, the scoreline suggests very good. Wolves are aside, much as some of our conversation earlier today, that some have pegged to go down, given some of their departures. So you want to take the performance maybe with a little pinch of salt. That being said, as we said earlier, all you can do is beat what's in front of you, and Manchester City certainly did that. At times, you wonder if this is the kind of fixture that maybe they would have struggled in last season, but no real signs of that. No real signs of that once City took the lead. Wolves did have a couple opportunities early on, one ruled out rightly for offside. But once City kind of survived that, um, and they got the opening goal, they were just in total control, and the result never really looked in any doubt.
So the first half hour was interesting because Wolves' game plan was basically to go at them,
Yeah.
to try and hit on the counter when they got the ball, but to be physical and not to be frightened of them. And I thought it worked for a spell. They just couldn't find a way past James Trafford. And there was nothing at that stage in the first half hour before City got the opening goal to suggest this would be as one-sided as it turned out.
No, it wasn't. And to to Manchester City's credit, having the likes of Stones back in the starting lineup now, if he can stay fit for all of, if not the majority of this season, I think is a huge boost to them defensively. They weren't what we've come to expect from City last season. I think Stones plays a part in that, not only just how they look defensively, but how Pep Guardiola can change things in moving Stones into midfield, etc. A lot of Manchester City's attacking threat came on the left-hand side, but with Jeremy Doku, who was direct, but at times I thought maybe lacked a little bit of quality just in the final ball. And again, it is the first game of the season. Maybe it's just teams kind of trying to get back to speed, and in City's case, kind of give them the stop-start summer of the Club World Cup. But then once City got that deadlock, once City broke the deadlock, it never looked in any doubt. And Reijnders certainly was the man who was grabbing and will grab the headlines following this one.
Anybody that watches Serie A will know his quality. For those that
Hmm.
didn't and haven't seen too much of him, I'm trying to think if he's more I think he's more an Ilkay Gundogan in his first spell at Manchester City
Hmm.
rather than a Kevin De Bruyne, because he can play 6, he can play 8, he can play 10. He's probably not as creative as De Bruyne, but for you, is he more of a kind of first term Gundogan for City?
I think it's always dangerous, but certainly the case of De Bruyne to draw any kind of comparisons. De
Yeah,
Bruyne really
exactly.
was almost a law unto himself, if I can say that. Reijnders certainly does have more of the Gundogan look. You saw that in the way he took his goal. You saw that in the creative ball to unlock the Wolves' defense for the first goal. I think he just shows so much both sides of the ball, of his ability. So I totally understand the comparison. I understand the excitement around Reijnders early on what we saw today. But again, if you give me a choice between De Bruyne and Gundogan, I'm always going to say Gundogan, because I'm not sure that the Premier League has seen a better passer, a better assister, is that a word, than Kevin De Bruyne.
Erling Haaland. Look, teams have off seasons. Man City did
Hmm.
last season. Erling Haaland was still their top scorer. He just needs a bit better service because he knows where the back of the net is. And I think that's 7 goals now he's got on the opening day for Man City in the 4 games that he's played. Do you expect a similar season to the one from 2 seasons ago where he's practically unstoppable? Or do you think it might be more like last season where he's still going to get lots of goals, but teams might double team him, for example, which ultimately is just going to mean someone else is going to get space and freedom?
Here's the issue with double teaming Erling Haaland. When he isn't on the end of crosses, he's not offering an awful lot. He's not chasing back. He's not defending. He's not part of the build-up play. So you double team him at your peril, because because he doesn't give anything else that the other side of the ball. So therefore, inevitably, you just have one centre half who's kind of there because everybody else is kind of worried about everybody else, and he just finds space and finds the back of the net as he did with this one in the opening goal against Wolves. So it's always difficult to try to figure out how to play up against Erling Haaland, unless you have somebody who can match him physically, who and let's be honest, his movement in the box as a goal scorer is almost second to none, which is why he finds space. And then he is a good finisher. As I mentioned, maybe he doesn't offer much more than that. That's a conversation maybe for a different day up against a different opponent. So it's always difficult. And then the question then becomes, well, how do you stop that supply, or how you make that supply as predictable as you can, so that you give defenders a chance when you're battling up against Erling Haaland one-on-one, with the likes of with the likes of Reijnders in this form, Silva. It's tough to keep City as predictable, and that for me will be everybody's challenge this season.
But the squad that they have, I mean, today they had
Mhm.
no Guardiola. So, I mean, it was Ruben Diaz and it was John Stones. Phil Foden and Rodri were watching from the stands. Nico Gonzalez started. Then they bring on Omar Marmoush, and then Cherki comes on and he gets a goal. Is this something? Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you about James Trafford as well, because he started in goal. And there's talk that Ederson is probably going to move to Galatasaray. So there's another new face that's come in, even though he's been there before. And
Mhm.
I thought his performance was good, because for the first half hour he was pretty busy up until Wolves did the old "everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face" Mike
Yeah.
Tyson line. But there wasn't a failure today for Man City, was there?
No, there wasn't. And I guess it's easy for me to start with Trafford. I thought he
Yeah.
cooked himself wonderfully well. And you're right, there's a lot of speculation around Edison, and then speculation around Gianluigi Buffon to come in. Buffon. Donnarumma. Be
Wow.
something for
Buffon's like, yeah, late 40s now.
there'd be something for Buffon to come in. Donnarumma to come in. We've been speaking about that all week, and I'll say here today, as I've been saying all week, Donnarumma to City doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me, simply because Donnarumma is not good with his feet, which is why Luis Enrique got or is willing to part ways with him. That and the amount of money he's demanding, and so to put into a Pep Guardiola team makes no sense to me. Um, and then you look at, I think it was City's third goal, the role that Trafford played, little ball into midfield into Reijnders, great little ball into midfield and Reijnders. City turn, and within two, maybe three passes, the ball's in the back of the net to effectively kill the game as a contest. That's Trafford doing what Pep Guardiola wants his goalkeepers to do, in a way that I'm not sure that well, either Buffon or Donnarumma can. So that's a question there. And then to your points about the other players that come off the bench, Cherki, I think, has the potential to be the exciting prospect of the Premier League. That's he is that good a talent. And I know he came off the bench today, but if he finds his stride and finds his creative spark, as he did in France, who knows what's this young man's ceiling. We saw a lot of Marmoush last season, how direct, how impactful he is, and then the others who Pep Guardiola will be able to call on during the course of the season, just makes this arguably the best squad in the Premier League. And as much praise as I've heaped on City there, I'll also add, I still don't have them as favourites to win the league. So it kind of speaks to how good the league promises to be this term.
I think you can get at them. I think you can score against them. I think the
You saw
problem
that,
is,
and you saw that early on. Mhm.
right? The problem is, I don't know how you keep them out, because they can
Yeah.
get you from various ways. And I remember last summer, Shaka, I was commentating a lot on Manchester City before the season got underway, and Oscar Bob was unplayable at times. And for him to get that injury when he got it was heartbreaking for him. And I'm
Mhm.
delighted to see him back, and he's just another option. So you've got him wide, you've got Ait-Nouri wide as well. We haven't even spoken about either of those two, and I thought they were excellent today.
Yeah, and excuse me, the dog in the background. I'm going to guess
Which
that
dog? It's important to know.
that's Georgie. We've got a
Georgie.
Dachshund who has this love affair with our postman. So please excuse her if her
Who,
barking is coming through.
who's
Yeah.
Georgie's team? This is more important. Who's Georgie's team?
I'm not sure Georgie is prepared to pin her colors to one team just yet.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
let's talk
but
about Ait-Nouri and Oscar Bob instead then, as you sit on the fence and get splinters on your backside.
yeah, to your point, it's really good to see Oscar Bob back in the starting lineup and playing the role that he did. Nuri again, and just adds to City's quality. Now, I and why I say what I did about City moments ago is because a team we saw 2 seasons ago, nobody anticipated what we saw last season, and now you're just waiting to see which version of City shows up this term. Incredible talent, and again, given some of the injuries that they had to endure, and had a very good finish to the season, albeit a disappointing season by their standards. You wonder if that momentum from the second half of the season or the last couple of months carries on. Now, you want to see those talents kind of shine through. It on the face of it, it certainly is ticking all the right boxes. I keep saying that because again, as we've been saying all day long, it's one game so far this season. I have to temper my enthusiasm, if not my praise for City, because some have Wolves as going down. So we'll see as weeks tick on exactly which version of City we're getting. But right now, well, all signs are positive.
Yeah, and look, we love to overreact on ESPN FC.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Exactly. It's day one. City are likely to finish the weekend top of the table unless we get some stupid results tomorrow. So why do you
Mhm.
still have Liverpool as favourites instead of Manchester City?
Well, I had Liverpool as favourites going in because I thought Liverpool were head and shoulders above everybody else last season. They showed that. The league table did not lie. And then they had the best transfer window and may yet add to it. So those things coming together, I think makes Liverpool favourites for me. At the same time, though, and if we're talking about favourites to win the title, as we said, I think it'll be a three-horse race. The other of those teams is Arsenal, who've added Gyökeres, who they've needed for the last couple of years. But for Arsenal to win the title, as I've been saying, I think Gyökeres needs to score 25, maybe 30 goals this season. And then they've got to get the same kind of return from Gabriel and Saliba. They've got to avoid injuries in key areas. I'm thinking Bukayo Saka. And everything else has to go as it has for the last couple of years. So there's no real wiggle room for Arsenal this season. For City, and again, despite last season's poor showing, you can't help but think of the City that won 5 titles in 6 years or whatever it is. And you're just waiting to see if last season was the off season and normal service will be resumed.
They looked good today. Chelsea tomorrow. Stevie Nicol will be alongside me, and knowing Stevie's loves for dogs as well, no doubt there'll be either a phone call or Haggis the doggy will be certainly involved in that. We'll do that at full
Mhm.
time tomorrow. Thank you to Georgie. Thank you to Shaka as well. And we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.